Hi everybody, my name is Victoria Ducharme, and today we're going to be talking about the importance of parental reading in early childhood. While visiting my 5-year-old nephew Alec and his family, I got in the habit of reading to him every night before he would go to sleep. I remember reading him the usual classics such as Thomas the Tank Engine and Clifford the Big Red Dog. 6 months passed until I visited him next, and the nighttime reading continued. We were reading Charlotte's Web together, and I didn't really think anything of it. I would just pick up on the chapter where Alec and his dad left off. But then 1 year later, at my next visit, I asked him what he and his dad were reading these days, and Alec got up and brought me a copy of Tolkien's Two Towers. What the f***? I got over my initial shock and I was like, oh sure, let's read Two Towers. There's no way this small child is actually understanding any part of this book. In 7th grade, I tried to read Fellowship of the Ring and stopped as soon as I realized that the Council of Elrond scene was 30 pages long. We snuggled up in bed and I started to read, I myself falling asleep because I think Tolkien's writing is overly verbose and makes me want to sleep. A few paragraphs into the chapter, Alex says to me, "Wait, you said that wrong." And then he proceeds to give me a brief history of the incorrectly pronounced word at hand and the significance of this word to a certain race of people. And I'm like, okay, this little does know what's going on. But it was so weird because I remember reading Thomas the Tank Engine to him and letting him flip through the pages while I read, and now he's correcting me on the pronunciation. So this entire anecdote brings me to our actual subject at hand, the importance of parental reading in early childhood. So, what does parental reading typically look like? Well, in early childhood, most children can't or don't really read yet, but a parent or another individual might read to them or participate in something called shared reading. Adults will likely read to children aloud, discuss the book at hand before, during, and after it's being read, and encourage the child to ask questions frequently. Overall, it's a very engaging and active experience as opposed to listening to something like an audiobook where you're just kind of there, not really interacting with the material. A child may turn the pages of the book or novel, and oftentimes parental reading happens in the evening in the form of typical bedtime story fashion. So why is parental reading important? Well, during the time period of early childhood, children's brains undergo something called a sensitive period, which according to Arnett and Maynard 2017, is the course of development, a period when the capacity for learning in a specific area is especially pronounced. This could be one of the many explanations to why my nephew Alec graduated from Clifford to Two Towers so quickly. His brain is at the perfect time in development for obtaining language information. So there are several lifelong benefits of parents reading to their children, including can set up children for a love of books during their entire lives. I have no doubt in my mind that Alec will continue to love reading when he's, our age, 20s, 30s, It is excellent preparation for success in school. It's unbelievably helpful for language development. It fosters interest in literacy. It can promote family time, so an activity that can bond families, and it can help with routines, promoting consistency in children's day-to-day lives. And in terms of problems with parental reading, there are none. More like challenges with executing parental reading. While there are many benefits of parental reading, some families choose not to, and some families are not able to participate in this wonderful activity. Lower income families or immigrant families are especially at risk for not being able to read to their children due to time constraints because of how much they work, or discomfort because of their own possible illiteracy or challenges with reading. All right, suggestions for promoting parental reading more. If you can read to your child, and definitely with your child. It's free, it doesn't take as much time as you think, and it has so many benefits to the child. High-quality preschools can also be helpful interventions when parents are unable to provide parental reading. There have been some particularly favorable results from early intervention programs. One program called High Scope Preschool Project was an all-day preschool program for children from low-income families, which lasted for about 2 years. This program demonstrated that an intensive, high-quality early intervention program can have a profound and lasting benefit on young children in terms of a lowered rate of problematic behaviors like getting arrested or getting pregnant, and an increase in positive behaviors like graduating high school, getting married, owning homes, not being in prison, making more money, etc. And if parents cannot read, teachers, siblings, friends, other family members are also options for getting this need met. Another suggestion is a larger government budget for funding research on how to encourage more frequent parental reading, what works, what doesn't, etc. It might lead to more funding for intervention programs. So, recommendations for future research. There should be more research on the long-term benefits of programs like the High Scope Preschool Project. Of course, we'd like to look at the academic benefits, but we'd also like to look at the emotional, social, fiscal benefits as well. It's actually really fascinating that reading at a young age can change so many things about your life and not just in the academic field. So an increase in research can encourage more funding for these types of programs because they can be really expensive. Something I want you to leave this presentation with today is a thought, just a little food for thought. What if every child was reading Two Towers by the age of 7 like Alec? And not just read it, understand it, ask questions about it, able to interact with material and apply it and explain it to the 20-year-old reading the book to you. How would this have affected your own life if you had been this child? Would you be the same exact person you are sitting here in this classroom? Would learning be easier? Would you be more emotionally adjusted? Would you like reading more? Would reading peer-reviewed articles be more fun for you? Might have been for me. Thank you so much for listening to the importance of parental reading in early childhood. I hope you have a great day.